experiencing, and how to reverse those and how to infuse in ourselves the vibrance of vitality and harmonizing all of that. And so that is something that we're going to be really diving into tonight. And before we got on, Mynoo and I were talking about that, and I said that I know so many people at a certain age who sort of allow the chronicness to be normalized. And I'm grateful to be not doing that. Let's not do that. Let's not normalize it. Yes, they may come and go, hopefully more going than coming. And Mynoo will be sharing with us tonight how we really can acknowledge what they are, reverse them, and again, move into vibrancy. And so without any further ado, I believe we may be bringing on Mynoo Maryel to be getting into our 60 minutes of grace and vitality.
Thank you, Sunny. Thank you. I'm looking forward to this one. It's a big one, actually, really big one, given that it addresses so many of the really big issues that we've been talking about, sleep being one of them, you know, and acute conditions are acute conditions, like he was saying, they'll come and go. It's the chronic ones that we use the pill popping and we start living a life of compromise, and it doesn't have to be that way. This particular resource of the earth and the earthing practices is a really huge one, massive gift to us. And we live on it, you know, so it's available quite freely to us. And it's up to us now to work with it. So I'm looking forward to sharing more. Thanks, Sunny. And remember, it's interactive. So if there is something that strikes as an aha or any questions that might arise, interrupt, and I'll bring you in because you're representing an archetype. And anybody here who's with us on Zoom, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. And Sunny, it would be great if you can keep track of that also. Okay, so let's begin. Yes, so we're talking about the 7 resources that get activated within our human form. And they enable us to work in partnership with the earth and how it supports us, the benefits that arise as we harmonize our circadian set point. This is one of the 7 circadian set points. So let's first of all understand, let's get on the same page in terms of what are we talking about here? A lot has been written about grounding and earthing and stuff. You know, it is one of the simplest way of improving your health. And I was just engaging with this, looking at what's been written about it online, and Aristotle talks about that in nature, there is something marvelous. And this is the marvelous part, the conductive contact of the human body with the surface of the earth. And it has quite powerful benefits to our physiology. So I'm going to talk about what they are and share with you ways in which I work with this. Given my travel schedule and all of that, it is quite a challenge sometimes. So essentially, what it is it's a direct contact of your skin or your bare feet with the surface of the earth. A lot of the time, the surface of the earth maybe, it could be grass, it could be even sand, it could be soil of any kind. But sometimes it gets sprayed on with pesticides and stuff like that. So you avoid that because otherwise, skin is one of the largest organs of our bodies. It is an organ of ingestion as well as excretion. So if you're coming into direct contact with surfaces that are coated with chemicals, the skin will absorb that. And then it'll get super busy wanting to excrete all the poisons that might have come in. But that ingestion immediately activates the digestive system, which is all about ingestion, absorption, and excretion. So it's useful when it comes to earthing to understand that the direct contact is best done with surfaces that aren't loaded with chemicals. And whilst in major cities, and I live in Dubai, so it is quite a busy city, and I can say, well, where do I find something? Yes, I can see green grass, but for them to maintain a patch of green on sand, they must be using stuff which can't possibly be good for me to ingest. So I don't go bare feet on green patches here, but there is a beach, and there are sand dunes not that far away. And I'm only talking about 20 to 40 minutes a day. 40 minutes a day is ample. I can certainly find somewhere which is natural, where I can walk and connect directly to the earth. So you can always find it. And this has been known, in pretty much all scriptures that refer to our health. It has been talked about, walking barefoot on earth for thousands and thousands of years. Why does it work? It works because when the skin comes in direct contact with the earth, and we've also talked about gravity. Remember, one of our circadian set points was just dedicated to gravity. It works because gravity itself induces a natural movement within our body. So it allows electrons to spread into the skin as well as the body. And it is that which has an impact on the immune markers. It's been around forever. And its health benefits have also been written about. So think about barefoot as a way of life. I know growing up, and now it is quite a common practice, we never wore slippers in the house. We just never did. You always took them out and you were bare feet, connecting to the earth's surface at home. And we did not spray our floors with chemicals. I still don't actually. I create my own combination of made with citrus. So I have lemon, when I juice a lemon or when I juice orange, I just put the remaining part in a canister, and that canister is filled with white vinegar and this stuff. And the peels of lemon and orange, and all you need is when the floor is being mopped, to just put a capful of that, and that's more than enough to keep any bugs away. Because I'm living in places that are quite warm, keep bugs away, and it's natural. I also have rugs at home which are hand woven. I brought them from India, which are hand woven using jute. Jute is a type of a plant. They also are actually quite grounding. And there are grounding mattresses that are also available. So when you are walking on bare feet, you are stimulating these very tiny little nerves at the bottom of the feet, and they're connecting to the surface of the earth. It brings the body back into a state of balance. And a number of very specific benefits that I'm about to talk about, which includes our parasympathetic nervous system response, which is much more about calming and digestion as a process, completion of the digestion as a process fully. So let's go into specifics. So the first one, what resources activated and its benefits? One of the resources that gets activated is a neutralizing resource. It neutralizes excess of any kind. And that excess could be energetic excess in the sense that, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're feeling that there's too much going on, if you're feeling that your heartbeat is racing, and you may not be feeling anything, and yet energetically, there may be some excess that is present in your body that your body is fighting against. All of these excesses give rise to a raised inflammation in the body. So by working with the earth, you neutralize that excess, and that reduces inflammation. Grounding is one of the simplest way to address that. Because everything is a vibration and energy is in continuous flow. Whether we like it or we don't like it, it's very hard to, confine that energy. It is flowing, and you can work with the earth directly to release this excess. There are many of you do the meditations that I do, and I always have us imagine as if we are connecting the base of our spine to the core of the earth with a golden cord. That also is a form of a grounding. Another way to work with the release of excess when it comes to grounding, and I do this often, don't do it every day, but I do it quite regularly, is you just stand bare feet on the earth, wherever you are. It could be in your apartment block, and you can literally just put your head down, bend down with your head down like this. And, if you have hair, just let them go down. Every strand of hair is like a little tentacle that is connecting you to the core of the earth. And if you can, just drop your hands to both sides, allow gravity to do its thing. Imagine the tips of your fingers have suddenly grown these little cords, and these energetic cords are connecting you to the core of the earth. Your feet are connected to the core of the earth, and every strand of your hair is connected to the core of the earth. And you just put your head down, and you can just stand there. 10 minutes is more than enough to stand that way. 10 minutes is a long time. So if you have this issue of your mind can't be still, then you can do a visualization while you're doing that. And in your visualization, you can imagine that all forms of excess that might be obstacles to you achieving what it is that you envision for yourself is being taken away by the earth. And when you're going to lift your head up, you're actually going to have the lightness of being. And with that lightness of being, you're going to move forward and realize what you're here to realize. And if you were realizing what you're here to realize, what would you look like? Really imagine and envision what you would look like. What would you be doing? How would you be being? And what sort of words would you use? What would you be saying more of? And how would you be feeling? And you can just imagine everybody looking at you, experiencing all of this. What do they look like? What sort of words are they using? And how are they feeling? It doesn't take long for 10 minutes to be done as you're doing this visioning exercise. And not only would you have earthed yourself very powerfully. I mean, normally I say 20 to 40 minutes. And here I'm saying 10 minutes, because literally you're just connecting so much of you to the depth of the earth, envisioning every strand of hair is connected. And you're just allowing the earth to take away the excess, give you that powerful foundation to go forth and amplify what you're here to do and make happen. Let's look at the second one. Under Sunny, do you have anything you wish to say here?
A couple things. First of all, I want to say that the 10 minutes of, doing that, I love doing that. And sometimes I'll just brush my hair even. I mean, I'm not doing it in such meditation way as you're saying, but I really, really love that feeling of that inversion sort of thing. And as I'm in that position, I drop more and I drop more and I drop more. I also want to say that at one point many years ago, I had a real issue with my liver. It was quite backed up. I mean, you could see it from a t-shirt. And I went to this really amazing man who was a, healer type. And he was so amazed that my liver was so inflamed, but that I wasn't inflamed like anywhere else. I didn't have inflammation. I was in like really great shape. And he couldn't figure it out. And I came in one day barefoot. And he's like, that's it. He said, do you go barefoot a lot? I said, I either wear stilettos, cowboy boots, or barefoot. And he said, that's what saved you, my girl. So I just want to throw that in as a concept. And I just did it because for me, I felt, grounded that way. So I just wanted to mention those two things. And also to, I love when you're talking about the neutralizing of excess. I think I'm going to use that when it comes to emotions, like sadness lately for me has been coming up. And so I'm going to implement this with my sadness. I'll just call it sadness for now.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Hmm.
The second one, the second resource is a resource of movement and flow of energy. And the benefit of that is decrease in pain. So can you imagine just standing and allowing stuff to connect to the core of the earth, or walking bare feet? Yes, when you're walking bare feet, you are actually moving physically. And by doing it bare feet, you're getting the power of the earth to bring about a movement, an internal movement at an electron level. And every cell has a multitude of electrons. And we've got 124 trillion cells. So they start moving. They start moving not in a random way. Earth naturally, because it removes excess, it brings about the natural way in which those electrons are meant to move. And it is that movement of electrons that creates the ability of the body to release any buildup of toxins that may be there. And that is what reduces the pain. And remember, pain is physical as much as it is mental or emotional. And even if, like the feeling of anger, for example, has a direct impact on the liver or the kidneys. And it can give rise to back pain. It can give rise to pain in your abdominal cavity, or something that we often call as stomach pain. It may have nothing to do with the stomach. It may be something to do with a bunged up liver. And this movement and the flow of energy is what supports that decrease in pain. Now, one thing that I got introduced to this by a very dear friend, Gina Lazenby. I use these Niken magnetic products. So I have a magnetic pad that goes on top of my bed, and a pillow, which also has magnets in it. And I have an insole that I put in my trainers, which also have got magnets in them. And all of this, why, and there was a pad. I suffered from back pain for several decades. And there was a magnetic pad that I put in my back, just at the back of my trousers. I would just slide it in. I would in fact get my trousers made so that it had a pocket for this magnetic thing to slide in. And literally within minutes, the pain would disappear. It's really only because of this flow of energy that starts to move that enables this pain to reduce. So it's a very beautiful and powerful benefit. There are, you can get magnetic pads. You can get magnetic mattresses. I've had magnetic mattress on my bed also. But when I travel, in fact, I've moved countries, I've had to let go of that. It's not very portable. But find your own ways that you can use. There are these earthing sheets as well, which I know, Lee, you use and you introduced me to. And I have one as well, which I use, which is so portable that it is a must. It's like we used to carry that first aid kit when we would travel as kids. My parents always had a small little first aid kit that would go everywhere. My first aid kit has that earthing sheet that travels with me wherever I go. Even if I'm there for a day, I carry it with me. And it's massive, massive benefit that's there. Ideally, you will find some place where you can just go walk bare feet for 40 minutes. And that's all it requires every day, just 40 minutes of bare feet walking. The third one is the calming of the nervous system. The calming effect is the resource that is activated. And what does the calming do? I'll talk a little bit more about the nervous system and how it brings about a shift there. Its benefit is a decrease in stress response. Our bodies require a form of natural stress to respond. Respond is reestablishing a bond. So we do require a certain level of stress, but having a reactive approach to stress can give rise to a multiplication of anxiety and anguish and depression and a whole host of those kind of things, taking us completely out of a state of rest. So this earthing as a way of decreasing your stress response is extremely important. How it shifts us from a sympathetic state to a parasympathetic state in our autonomic nervous system. The sympathetic system, basically, what it does is, that is the one that controls the fight or flight responses. In other words, what I'm saying here is that we are preparing our body for strenuous physical activity. That's what the sympathetic system does. And as a result, your body can go into a free state. We have Mary Malloy here, who is a pioneer of biodynamic medicine. And she's the one who really taught me about this fight, flight, the free state, and why it's important to drain out this buildup of this fluid that impacts our nervous system. Parasympathetic system regulates rest and the digest functions. Digestion, remember, is a three-part process: ingestion, absorption, and excretion. And a lot of the time, ingestion occurs, but our bodies require a proper level of preparation. The circadian set point synchronization really helps complete the digestive function. And this calming effect, the decrease in the stress response, enables us to actually respond, reestablish that bond within ourselves, and not have to fight or flight or freeze as a response, which are all reactive, but that's quite a natural reaction of the sympathetic nervous system. Earthing synchronizes us quite beautifully and regulates this rest and digest functions. Anything you would like to say or add or ask at this point?
Yeah, two things. When you were talking about, I love this about the paranervous system and the sympathetic. I love that kind of stuff. So thanks for throwing that at us today. And one of the things that I learned many years ago, living in LA, everything is always too hip, gotta go. Everyone's running around, throwing themselves everywhere, and traffic and all that. And I was eating in a way, I weighed a lot more for a period of time. And another healer I was working with said, you must completely calm down before you eat. So don't eat when you're nervous, don't eat when you're in a hurry, don't eat when you're set, like really upset, or really excited, even like really, really happy, even. You must be calm and peaceful and calm the bleep down and then eat. And at first it was hard because I was so used to just grabbing food and, running around and jamming it in my system and it made such a difference. And now it's to the point where if I'm not calm, I just don't eat. I just can't eat. It's not even a choice. It just doesn't go in. So this connects with that for me when you're talking about the three levels or the three parts. Because if we eat when we're calm, then that sets up everything, does it not, to, function properly.
Very true, very true.
Yeah. So
So
thank you
all of
for,
the derived
yeah.
benefits just coming from earthing,
Mm,
so
mm.
readily available to us. We even live in it. I mean, that's our environment. It's the ship that we are on,
Mm.
you know?
There's one thing that you do with us in our meditations where for many, many years now, you've had us, you choose different metals for us,
Mm.
copper, silver, gold, and aluminum, I think. And
Platinum,
um,
yeah. Bronze,
yeah,
bronze.
a bronze, that's it, bronze. And I love that because I can really visualize that. And it makes such sense because then I sort of feel like a tuning fork for the universe. So I'm
Yeah.
like picking up yummy, good stuff. And recently I've been growing plants in my in my sand and my rocks here in Arizona, which is so dry. And I read about this process of doing coils of copper and putting that with the plants. And I thought, whether it actually works or not, maybe it will, but I feel so happy doing that for my plants because I feel like I'm giving them the
Yeah.
love that Mynoo Maryel tells us about it every other day. I'm doing for them what I do for myself, like my little children, pygmy plants. So I just
Very
wanted to
true.
mention that because they say it, it sort of pulls in. And so if we're grounding, does it also not give us the ability to be more in a way? In other words, you know,
Absolutely, absolutely. Look, a tree, the deeper its roots, the taller it can be and the more expansive it can become.
mm,
That's what is happening. And we are all vibrational beings. So we can literally be as below, so above. We are the tree of our life,
mm.
you know?
Yay, I love that. So in all these processes, it is really bringing us to feel that depth, to feel, we walk on the earth, but to really feel the expansiveness and we all see, want more in our lives to do more. I know we all have these conversations so much in the spiritual community about, oh gosh, I wish I could do more financially or, writing more books or whatever it is, having
Yeah,
my word go out. So this is a way we can allow that for ourselves. Do you
yeah,
think?
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
feel?
absolutely. I do feel that. So let's
Thank
look at
you.
the fourth one, which is interbeat. Interbeat is the resource that gets activated An interbeat is the time between waves. And what that does is it increases the heart rate variability, and that improves the autonomic nervous system. The higher the heart rate variability is, the interbeat between the heartbeats, for example, what I mean here is that if the time between heartbeats is 1,000 milliseconds, then your heart rate would be 60 beats per minute. The better the function of our autonomic nervous system, which is associated with better recovery, better emotional resilience, and overall well-being. And that all of that is like a component of the peripheral nervous system, regulates our involuntary psychological processes. All of that is directly linked to the heart rate. Our blood pressure is linked to that. Our ability to breathe in deeply is linked to that. A healthy digestion system, as well as sexual arousal, is linked to this interbeat. And that's a gift that you get. I mean, it was so huge for me to understand that, wow, this is a piece that I didn't realize. But I feel it, I feel it when I've done long haul travels and go into a hotel room and I just lie on that regular bed, or I go into a hotel room, put up my earthing sheet. It's a very different quality of sleep that happens. And we're going to talk about sleep in a moment. But I'm sure it is something to do with this interbeat aspect that makes a difference. Now, some of you heard me talk about, we've had these very surprising weather conditions in Dubai, and all of the Middle East, but I mean, I'm impacted in the context of Dubai. So as a result, I was attempting to travel back from India, from Mumbai to Dubai, and the flight kept getting canceled. And finally, I couldn't get back to Dubai. I got back to Abu Dhabi and took the bus back and shared some videos of what it was like. This was 3 days after the crazy storm that Dubai had. Dubai is very quick to recover, and still that recovery was, left a lot still to be desired. So I come back to my building, which is great to be here, and they are desperately getting water out of the basement, out of the lift shaft. So the elevators are not working. I live on the second floor. So I said, it's okay. I'll climb up the stairs and I'll go slowly. It's fine. And I start climbing up the stairs. Now I do have a suitcase as well. So I'm climbing up the stairs. And then I realized that actually it's not 2 floors because we have 3 floors of parking. And then the residence stuff begins. So it's 5 floors that I'm climbing up. And I mean, the funny thing was I just kept going. There was a cadence, 1 step at a time. I just kept going. So, and before that, for a month, I've been like, going and walking on the treadmill at a 4 incline and, speed of 4 and stuff for about 40 minutes. I'm sure that had made a difference to me. I was like so excited that I was able to do it all. And I'm sure this aspect of me sleeping on this earthing mats, as well as the little bit of fitness that I engaged in before that, definitely made a huge difference. And I was wearing my magnetic insoles as well. I'm sure that made a difference. It would have been quite difficult otherwise. Because one thing climbing, I already am carrying excess weight. And then I had the weight of my suitcase as well as a backpack. So this piece was the earthing, I'm sure, made a huge difference. The fifth gift, the fifth resource that is activated is a remembrance of the perfect quality of sleep. We've had so many disruptions in our sleeping patterns over the years that it's really, the first thing is to reawaken us to the experience of good sleep. This improved sleep improves our cortisol rhythm. And cortisol is one of our key stress hormones. It has a direct impact on our quality of sleep. They can be too high or they can be too low, your cortisol levels. And what it does is it has a direct impact on your adrenal glands. A lot of adrenal disorders, and even the pituitary gland, can have a direct impact on cortisol levels, making them high. Of course, cortisol levels become high even by taking certain levels of steroid medication. Now, what does cortisol do? It raises your blood sugar. It releases that stored glucose, results in a lot of disturbance in sleep. And having chronically high cholesterol levels can lead to persistent high blood sugar levels, leading to type 2 diabetes. Earthing is a very important way of neutralizing this excess, and it has a direct impact on your sleep patterns. Cortisol levels themselves, there are different ways in which you can naturally lower your cortisol levels. Focusing your attention on good quality sleep. I mean, yoga, mindfulness, meditation, balanced diet. We've already done a lot of work on living foods here that make a difference on cortisol levels. Proactively introducing laughter into your life. It could be done through laughter yoga. There's so many amazing clubs that you can join in at any time online. Physical activity, particularly doing it bare feet if you can, that makes a difference. The breathing patterns, like the breath exercises that some of you know, that there's a particular sequence that I do, that makes a difference. Staying hydrated, not by glugging in liters and liters of water, but by drinking it a sip at a time. That is the way to get yourself hydrated. Dramatically limiting your caffeine and sugar levels. All of that helps and supports the reduction of cortisol levels, and that has a direct impact on sleep. Anything you want to say here, Sunny?
Yes, I really appreciate that, and specifically the laughter. I find that it's one of the things that we used to do so much before COVID was be in movie theaters together, or, this kind of thing. And if something was funny, we would laugh. And those of us who are old enough to remember the laugh tracks on TV shows, sitcoms and things, if you watch those shows with no laugh track, it's so different. And we as community, as human beings, love to laugh with other people, and it's contagious. And I also notice that the more I laugh, the more I laugh. Like, if you're just sort of sitting there and nothing is funny, but that's what comedians know. They like kind of, they reel you in and they keep going a little more and a little more. And then you're just kind of laughing at everything. And so I love that concept of reminding us all to just laugh already. Just, gosh, don't take ourselves so seriously. I mean, I really get a big kick out of being around Tibetan monks, because they laugh, at everything. Like they can be saying, oh, the sky is falling. And I just get the biggest kick out of that. So I'm so grateful that you're reminding us about laughter. And again, laughter in community. Like it's like singing in community. It's way more fun than just singing by yourself in the shower. So
Yeah.
I want to, give us all the permission. I want to spread that more and throw it out to say, yes, guys, let's laugh more and with people.
And you can combine it. I mean, they do this in India quite a lot. Like a number of times when I'm visiting Mumbai, I stay in a hotel right on the ocean. So many laughter clubs where people have gone for a walk. They're walking on the sand bare feet and just having their laughter. and then walking a bit more, and then having another laughter. It's just, you can combine things together, and it has an impact on your sleep. It has an impact on regulating your cortisol levels.
You know, what it also has an impact on is really, really shifting the dial. I remember one time I had I have a niece who was really going through the hardest things in her life, she thought. And I was helping her move into Berkeley. She was coming out from New Jersey, and she was just ready to cry at any moment. Her mom told me on the phone, like when you pick her up, she's just right at the edge at everything. So we went out to lunch, but I was sort of, and we went to check her into her dorm or whatever, and she had a big big suitcase, kind of like you're talking about, and we had to pull it upstairs and stuff, and I could feel that she was about to cry and lose it. And I just started laughing. I said, "Oh my God, we're like in a sitcom. I mean, can you imagine? We're just like these two girls. We're pulling up the suitcase," and we got ourselves into peals of laughter. And and she told her grandmother later that laugh, I mean, she was this close to just like getting back on a plane and leaving. And somehow that laughing shifted the whole thing so much that she stayed at Berkeley and graduated. But,
Yeah,
so it can really shift the channel so much too.
yeah, yeah,
When we
indeed.
see this, when we see the ludicrous of life, ludicrousness of life, and again, not taking it so seriously all the time.
Indeed, indeed. Okay, let's look at the seventh resource that gets activated. It's a reduction in blood viscosity. And this reduction in blood viscosity has a direct impact on our cardiovascular health. If you had any wounds and stuff, it definitely dramatically improves healing of any wounds. And I'm talking about physical wounds. And what this does is, so blood viscosity basically is the measurement of the thickness or the stickiness of our blood. And that is a direct measure of the ability of our blood to flow through the blood vessels. And a lot of the time, when the blood is too thick and is not flowing that well, it gives rise to stagnation and makes it worse if you've got any form of infections. So earthing is a very powerful way of improving this blood viscosity. And it is this thickness of the blood that can, the triglyceride measurement, for example, in your physical markers, it is a measure of this. And it relates higher triglycerides, is a higher cardiovascular risk. So if grounding is a way in which you can reduce your blood viscosity, the knock-on effects, the benefits of all of that are quite significant. I mean, I was amazed that something like this does. The interesting thing is, you may have a wound somewhere on your body, and all that grounding is asking for is a direct contact with your skin and the earth. So it's not as if the wound has to be the one that is making the contact. It's your body that is to be making that contact with your feet or your hands. And that has a multitude of benefits. And the blood viscosity levels are, I know for a fact that my partner, Phil, his stroke was directly related to high levels of stickiness in his blood. There was a particular marker which showed that it wasn't as oxygenated as it needed to be. So when he deprived himself through sleep apnea of oxygen, it just went above a particular threshold and he had a massive stroke. So it's amazing. What is amazing for me as I was preparing for this session, today's session, was how intricate and interconnected so many aspects of that which constitutes well-being are. And grounding appears to improve sleep and normalize the day-night cortisol rhythm, reduces pain, reduces stress, shifts in this autonomic nervous system from sympathetic towards parasympathetic activation, increasing the heart rate variability, speeding up wound healing, reducing blood viscosity. I mean, like all of this, such a huge gift. And sure enough, the earth is the ship on which we live. So it's making sure that the environment itself can support us very powerfully. A good example is something there's an amazing raw food chef in California called Juliano's. Juliano's shared this with me, and he said, just think about Grandma Zebra. She wakes up in the morning, shakes off, and then off she goes for a run. And then, has her food, and then she runs again. And, she's grandma human. And not all grandmas do it. I don't. There are many grandma human who wake up in the morning, clean the dentures and put them on, and then out comes a collection of pills. And then they'll, may or may not be able to walk themselves. They may need some extra support, but the mobility is not as powerful as that of a grandma zebra. And he was making the case for raw foods. And I'm like looking at that same scenario, thinking, well, grandma zebra is always walking bare feet and running in the wild. So there are no pesticides sprayed on that ground. And it's eating food from the wild. So again, it's quite natural. And the food requires a lot of chewing. So a lot of our internal digestive organs are being activated. Now we don't live that lifestyle. We've gotten used to certain levels of luxury. So what can we do in our own way, in our own environments to support us so that we can utilize these natural environments and natural resources that are available to us, that are for us to pick on and utilize. And the overall intention is you synchronizing your circadian set points. That's all. If they're synchronized, there is no addiction that takes place. You are actually living a full spectrum life, and you're experiencing full spectrum well-being, where you're thriving physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, and environmentally. Earth is a gift that keeps giving. Over to you, Sunny.
Thank you. And over to me in a bit, but I want to chat with you a little bit about a couple things. I have some questions, and some things were coming through. I do want to talk about the grandma zebra for a sec, though, too, because as you know, I just got back from the Kalahari Desert with the Bushmen, being with them. And I did, they were kind of amazed at me being like, a white chick from LA, but I really loved I really love just, having my shoes off and walking in the sand. In the Kalahari, it's sand. It's just sand, sand, sand. And there are plants on top, but it just goes very, very deep, feet deep. And so it's sort of like walking on the beach, except there's no beach anywhere. And of course, the Bushmen, I'm sure many of you know, of course, walked and ran, ran for thousands and thousands of years with no feet, with no shoes, not feet, shoes for sure. So I want to mention that. And then I also wanted to ask you a question about just for people might want to know, how do we get earthing sheets, and what is the idea of the magnetic patches, or those things?
Hmm. Actually, I can share a link to a website which does earthing sheets. You can certainly get those quite readily in the
Oh,
US, and I'm sure they'll deliver to the UK. India, there is a different side, and it's the earthing sheet that you get in India. You can get them, and they're equally effective. But they're quite thick, so it's very uncomfortable to sleep on them.
Mm.
It's okay to have them on the side of the bed where your feet will be, so you can have your feet on them. But actually, to sleep on them fully is a little bit uncomfortable. So that's just be aware of that. You can certainly have those, under your feet as you're working. You can have them like a little roll that's there under your feet, and you can have them. You can have something that is there on the desk where you may rest your arms. The idea is your skin having that direct contact with the earth.
Okay.
Okay. So the way the earthing sheets work is there is a plug point, just like you have your regular plug point, there is an earthing. It's a 3-pin, always has an earthing part. So this one has got a plug point that connects to the earthing of your electricity system. So there's no
Mm.
current that goes in. It is only taking the earthing part.
Ooh,
Okay. That's what it's doing.
cool.
Now, there are sheets available in India where if you're able to, they do have wires, copper wires, that can go out through the window, and you can actually just put them about 2 feet into the earth. And it has the same effect. So but you're not using electricity, you're using this copper wire to go direct into the earth. So that is one thing in the context of earthing sheets. I would always say look for a way in which you can have 40 minutes bare feet. And it doesn't have to be 40 minutes at a stretch. It could be 10 minutes at a time. I know, Mary, certainly where you live, the garden, there, it will not have any pesticides on it. So you can just use that. That it is much more readily available than you actually realize. Right? Now, if you are into planting your own plants and you're getting everything natural in terms of soil and manure and all of that, holding these microbiomes in your hands for 40 minutes, that's earthing also.
Mm. Mm.
So just know that there are so many different ways in which you can do it. Now, what you're doing here is by one thing that I haven't mentioned, but it is a resource that becomes available to you, is the enrichment of your own internal microbiome um,
Mm.
ecosystem. That also becomes available to you when you're using your hands and feet as a way of
Mm.
connecting to the earth. Now, the magnetic part, I mean, the company that I've used is Nikken, Nikken. They are very active in the US. They are actually pulling out of their European operations, so it's become much harder for us to get anything from Europe. They don't operate in Dubai or India, as far as I know. So I don't know how you would get, but there are other magnetic insole and patches that are available in many parts of the world. But this is really what it's doing. Really getting that electromagnetic balance through using the earthing systems. That's what is happening there. Um,
Beautiful. Yes, yes. And also the concept of the copper, you have us imagine it. We're not actually, having these chords in the, yeah, we're
yeah.
visualizing. And so with that concept, do you want to, because we're talking about the grounding for those of us, maybe who are in your class, but are in your, days that when we gather, and those who are not, just a bit about that and how that works with us
Yeah.
for our grounding.
Yes. So remember, everything is a vibration. And vibrations are occurring even if you don't necessarily see anything moving, right? Um, and there is a remembrance that is held at a cellular level,
Mm.
right? And the energetic remembrance of a particular type of vibrational frequency is as potent as it actually existing right there in front of you. right? So in my meditations, I always begin by us connecting to the earth. So I always say to people, have your feet on the ground, the base of your spine and the middle of your feet. Imagine they're connected to the core of the earth through a cord. And then I ask you to visualize that the cord is made up of these different metals, gold, silver, bronze, copper. Gold is really good for the nervous system. So a remembrance immediately returns at a cellular level about the strengthening of your nervous system. So with the cord that is going into the core of the earth, the excess that might be stressing the nervous system is released into the earth, and the power of gold to nourish and nurture the neurons is activated, right? And then I say silver zaps away the parasites and bacteria, and any of those pathogens are zapped out. So the excess that comes from the impact that a zapped out pathogen may have, in terms of the emotional distress that it might experience, that is released into the core of the earth. And the power of your body now living without a pathogen creates the space for your microbiome ecosystem to become stronger.
Mm.
Okay, that's what silver
Ooh.
does. And then copper has anti-inflammatory qualities. What it does when it comes in this earthing, grounding way in which I work with it in the meditation, it is actually balancing the spread of minerals. Your body naturally does that. It is important for your body to have an alkaline environment, and it will do that. Otherwise, your body will be corroding from the inside. We put so much in our system that is acidic, right? So what it does, though, is it to get that acidic thing neutralized, it goes and leaches calcium and other minerals from our bones or even from our muscles. And then you have cramping and a whole variety of, bone density becomes weaker. All that stuff happens. So copper gets that balance readjusted. So our body has all of these minerals, but they are stashed away in emergency stores, which it naturally goes and picks up, and we have our water internally, which then distributes it. But what if that, an osmotic, an osmosis type system is also available within the body? Copper supports that, a regulation of these minerals. And bronze is already an alloy, and bronze is so infused with bronze was invented with the purposes of creating divine statues of the divine. So it has that turning the switch on of our own connection to our inner divinity. So by our nervous system becoming by becoming stronger, us having the neutralization of pathogens, becoming, allowing that wonderful, healthy flow of life force in our system, combined with a regulation of the minerals, we are actually in a good rhythm of energy flowing through our bodies.
Mm.
In the container of the earth in its absolute pristine state, we connect to the divinity that is us, our inner light.
Whew. So I have so many notes written down, as I always do, and yet there's just so much I couldn't even get down. So this is going to be something that I know I will return to again and again, and probably make many more proper notes, because I learned so much today and I'm so grateful. And I love the concept of moving pathogens out so that we have more room in our body better, clearer real estate to have cooler, healthier things flowing and growing and glowing and all that stuff. And so I feel so grateful for this particular evening with you, Mynoo Maryel. And I just want to, I know we're at our time, so we must say goodbye for now. I'm really, really hoping that you all join us next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. For the 27th. And again, this was the 26th. Magnificent, magnificent, magnificent. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Namaste to you all. And this is Sunny Chase signing off. And thank you so much. I'm just so filled. So bye-bye
Thank
for
you,
now,
everyone.
guys.
Thank you. Thank you
Mhm.
for your comments. Can you just, Sarah, can you just put that question in the Beyond Meditation group and I'll respond there. And thank you, Mary, for being awake.
Thank
Um,
you, Mynoo. Thank you, Sunny. Thank you,
thank you. Bye-bye.
Helena and Sarah, darlings, everybody. It's so wonderful to hear you, Mynoo and Sunny. It's just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Your magnificence. Thank you,
Thank
everybody. It's lovely. I'm in Ireland, the west coast of Ireland. It's
Oh,
2 o'clock or 2:30 in the morning. And
oh,
hey, glad you got home safe.
you.
Love
I know.
you. Love you. See you soon. Please God at the end of April. Love to everybody. Thanks, everybody. It's
Lots
it's
of
a
love.
joy.
Get
Lots of
some
love.
rest, Mary. Mary, get
Thanks,
some
Sarah.
rest.
Thanks, everybody. Minu, love
Bye-bye.
you. Thanks, Sunny, for hosting.
thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
please give Ireland a big, big hug for me.
Did a great job, Sunny.
That's good. Sweet
Bye,
dreams,
everyone.
everybody. Bye, Minu.
Yes.
Bye.
Mwah. Bye
Good night.
bye.
Thank you.